God is not a factor. That is the myth we've been working with, that God is a factor. We say things like the God factor. I've dealt with this issue in a previous podcast, in a podcast in the past. But I felt I need to have a special episode for it, an episode solely for this topic. So this might be a short podcast. God is not a factor. We need to establish that. I'm saying this because, sorry, pardon the cough. Okay, I'm still dealing with cough. I don't know why. God is not a factor. Okay, God is not a factor in your life. All right, he is either running your life or not. We have this myth, and it's a painful myth because it reduces God, it reduces His value. And I usually hear this from motivational speakers. They do this a lot. Or public speakers, people who sometimes they call themselves life coach. You understand? They want to have the reputation of a pastor without doing the work of being a shepherd. Okay, it is a lot of work to be a shepherd. He's a shepherd now, shepherd. But they don't want to do it. What they want to do is speak at events, look nice, look sharp, talk tough, talk high sounding words. And usually because they want to get, because of the segment, the target of their audience, the kind of audience they have, especially in Nigeria where they have predominantly a religious audience, they tend to tilt to religion. They tend to tilt to whatever religion they're dealing with. So if they are speaking, most of the time they get platforms with Christian organizations or faith-based organizations, or organizations where the owners are faith-oriented. Okay, and then they speak and they tell you, they have a topic like, okay, 10 steps to excelling in your career, 10 keys to unlocking the next level, how to break away from this, how to leapfrog in your organization, how to engage, you understand, all these things. And they give you 10, 15, 20 steps or keys or stages or phases, and somewhere at the end they tell you one of the steps or one of the keys is the God factor. And it gives you the orientation that I can do all these things and then I will include God and it will work. It creates that formula mentality, that way there's a formula for excelling. And what's that formula? I do A, B, C, D, E. And E is including God in the whole situation. Maybe I pray or I consult my pastor. I do one of those things. Sorry, I think I just got a message. You understand? They make God to look like, they make God into these components. Pardon me. They make God into this component in your life. You have to make adjustments. You understand? To include God. You understand? At some point. So you are doing a lot of things at the beginning, and then you somehow include God. No, that's not how God works. God will not come and play last man in your game. He won't come and you won't be picked last in your team. No. If you are team God, or if God is team you, God has to be the center of the whole thing. He is the full package. I call him, he's the canvas upon which your life is painted. Let me say it again. He's the canvas upon which your life is painted. This means everything about you only exists because he is. In him we move, in him we live, in him we have our being. He is the canvas upon which our life is painted. In other words, if you take him out, you are painting your life on crap. You have no direction. And what you'll be doing most of the time is you'll be doing things and hoping that God will come in and defend you. God will come in and back you. So you're making prayers like, oh God, wherever I go with me. No, that's not his job description. His job is not to follow you around. So while you're making stupid decisions, he'll just be there following you around. No. He makes the decisions. You follow him around. That's how it works. He's not a factor in your life. He is the life himself. He is life himself. Before you make any move, you consult him. Before you make any decision, you consult him. You don't go doing step 1, step 2, step 3, and then bring him in step 4. No, he's at the beginning. In the beginning, God. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, who? God. Not in the beginning, man. Not in the beginning, my career. Not in the beginning, wake up early in the morning. Not in the beginning, step 1. In the beginning, who? God. God shows up in the beginning. If you don't bring him in the beginning, when you bring him, he'll be doing damage control, because 90% of the time you are doing what he has not sent you to do. 90% of the time you are doing what he has not sent you to do. So you must keep him by your side. Scratch that. You must keep him in you. If you abide in me and I abide in you, I will basically construct your desires. The desires of your heart will be the desires I put into them, so that whatever you ask in my name, I will do it. Why? Because you have let me abide in you and you abide in me. In other words, we are so fused and intertwined that whatever is flowing through you is coming from me. That's how it works. I was speaking to my mentor one time like that, and I was telling her that God told me certain things to do, and I've been doing them, and I've not been seeing results. And it's as if things are locking up, and I did to a point, and it's as if things started locking up, and I don't understand what. And she probed and probed and probed, and asked and broke it down for me. And I broke it down for her. And when she had seen like the whole picture, she now told me clearly that you have gone beyond where God told you to go to. And it didn't occur to me. For the life of me, I had no idea. She told me, God told you do this, and he stopped. All this other one that you've done, he didn't tell you to do it, yes or no? I said it's true. He said that's your problem. You have left God somewhere and you're walking on your own. You think that God is with you because you think, but no, God has stopped where he told you to stop. And he's probably getting ready to give you instruction for the next level, but you have gone into your own direction. And you think you are doing God a favor, you're helping God, and God is saying, I'm not with you. Come back, son, come back. You see that you can easily walk away without God and end up in the valley of shadow of death. And while the good shepherd is with the sheep, with the 99 sheep somewhere, you are in the valley of shadow of death. He has to now come with his rod and staff to guide you back to the mountaintop. God is not the factor. God is the main thing. He's the main guy involved. He's the main guy involved. You cannot sideline him and expect to prevail. No. The moment you start without God, what you are saying is, I will do this on my own. Even if that's not what you are declaring with your mouth, the truth is your actions are saying, I've got this. And the truth is, God has given us free will. God will not intervene in the actions of men, in the life of men, without man asking him to intervene. Let me say it again. God will not intervene on earth in the activities of men until man calls him into play. Look into the scripture. Look at where God shows up and interrupts situations. Look at where the mighty hand of God comes in and makes changes in the activities of men. I can assure you, somewhere, somehow, somebody called God into play. I didn't know this. As in, I used to think that God would just show up and run the earth like a chessboard, and he'll just move things around. No. Every time God shows up, he uses a man first. That's what you will always notice. He will always use a man. Secondly, he will only show up with that man or that woman, whoever is using, at the behest of men on earth. Look Look at it right from time. Every time he's showing up, man has called him into play. When it comes to deliver, when it comes to save, someone called him into play. And not only does he come in, he will come in with a man. He doesn't come in and move things around. No, he comes in with a man or with people. He uses people to do his dealings on earth. So every time you want to carry out activities, you must get him involved first. He decides the gameplay. You don't create a gameplay and then ask him to come and play the game with you. No, he decides the gameplay. Why? Because he sees the big picture. You don't see it. All you are seeing is what's in front of you. You don't see the big picture. God sees the big picture. You are like an ant in a house. All you see is the leg of the owner of the house. In fact, if they ask you as an ant, who is this person? Who is Daniel? Or draw Daniel. Can you sketch Daniel on a piece of paper? As an ant, what you will sketch is the side of my leg that you always see when you pass by. Yeah, my feet, my pinky toe, which is times 100 of you. That's all he would draw. That's all he would draw. My tiny toe. Why? Because that is all I am to you. That is, if you draw that, if you draw down, as an ant, if you draw the occupant of that house and you place it somewhere, we who are human beings will not see a human being. We will see a toe. And you say, oh, that is the guy that owns the house. That's him right there. And I was like, no, that's a toe. That's a toe of a human being. Why? Because as an ant, that's what an ant is seeing. He's not seeing the big picture. But as the human being who is in the house, you are seeing everything. You are seeing where the ant is coming from, where the ant is going to. You are seeing everything about the ant. You can simply blow air from your mouth and terminate that ant's life. I'm telling you. That is the way our relationship with God is. The best you can see about God is what He shows you. We do till today, till tomorrow, we do not know what God looks like. We don't know if God is a straight line or God. We try to draw God. Americans in their pathetic attempt to mock God, they draw a white man with beards, with gray hair, not even gray, with white hair and long white beards. So basically, Dumbledore. Is it Dumbledore? What's his name now? I think it's Dumbledore. That's his name. The guy with white hair in Harry Potter, also one of those movies. That's basically what they think is God. But the truth is, according to Paul, He is the immortal, invisible being existing in unapproachable light. He that no eyes can see and no eyes will ever see. He is. We cannot imagine who He is. In fact, He said, do not make any image for me. Why? I will send my Son. When you see Him, you have seen me. Jesus will say, if you see me, you've seen the Father. I and my Father are one. Why? I am the only representation of the Father. You cannot imagine who the Father is. He is in light. The best you can say is God is light, and in Him there is no darkness. Other than that, you cannot see God. No man has ever seen God in this life. John the Beloved said that. No man has ever seen God. But guess what? Moses was shown the back of God. And I'm sure he was probably expecting to see, the backbone, the spine, and no. What did he see? He saw time past. He saw the book of Genesis. All that he wrote in Genesis, he saw Adam, he saw Noah, he saw Enoch, he saw Abraham, he saw Isaac, he saw Jacob. He saw all those things. So he saw in other words, God is the canvas upon life is painted. So much so that when Moses saw God, when he saw the back of God, he saw the time past. And then John, in the last book of the Bible, saw the face of God. But what was the face of God? The face of God was the future, the time to come. And so he wrote the book of Revelation based on the face of God. So we try to imagine God, and we just imagine one old man, with all the power in heaven and earth, sitting on one throne. That is God. We cannot typify God in any way, because we don't know what it could be. A straight line, it could be a box, it could be a unicorn, for all we know. But we are not interested in that. So you cannot see the big picture, because you don't even know what the picture looks like. All you can see is what is under your nose. In fact, I mean, all you can see now is the present and the part of the past that you were involved in. Even at that, we have erroneous memory of the past. So if you want to step into the future, you need an accurate future. Who can give an accurate future? God. So in everything you want to do, let God be first and everything. When we call him Alpha and Omega, notice that we never call him Alpha. He's never called only Omega. He's always called Alpha and Omega. It is not because he is the first and the last. People have that assumption that, he's the first and the last. So we call him Alpha and Omega, because Alpha and Omega are the Greek letters for the first Greek letter and the last Greek letter. It is an expression. It is not simply saying who is at the beginning and he's also at the end. No. It's an expression. It's like when you say, I've read that material, A to Z of that material. I know it. I know that book like the back of my hand. I know everything about it, A to Z. Meaning that I know A, I know Z, I know everything between. So when we say Alpha and Omega, we're not saying he is Alpha and Omega. He's Alpha to Omega. He's everything in between. So how would you have access to a God who is everything in between, who knows everything around you, about you, and you ignore him until some point when you now include him like some condiment? No, you don't do that. He's not the condiment. He's the cookbook. He's the one that tells you all the things you need to do to make that food good. You don't build strategy with that. Oh my goodness, let's not even go there, because I don't know how. Sometimes I want to respond to my boss on certain things, and when he asks me to, what do we do about this, and I need to give him strategy advice, and I feel uncomfortable responding without praying. I feel uncomfortable. I feel like I'm going to give this guy wrong advice. So when he sends me a message and I think, I know the answer, and let me send it, I hold myself. Say, go and pray. Even if it's 15 minutes, just go and calm down. Let God say something. Why? Because I value the business. I value my relationship with him. I don't want to give him bad advice. So I think deep about stuff. And I put God at the beginning, at the end, and everywhere in it. In other words, he's the one that tells me what to do. I don't do stuff and somehow ask him to get involved. No, he's the one that tells me what I'm doing. God is not a factor. Please do not reduce God to a factor. Don't do that. It will not help you. It will not help nothing. I mean, you will always. I told you about my friend, right? That she says she talks to God. She has a relationship with God. She prays the Holy Spirit and stuff. And I said, okay, when you make decisions, do you consult God? Does God tell you what to do? And she says she doesn't do all that. That all those things that people do, that she doesn't believe in it. And when people use the word believe in it, I don't believe this, or I don't believe in that. Usually, what I hear is I want to do my thing. She said, I don't believe in it. I don't believe that because I want to make a decision on something. I'll now go out fast and pray so that God will not tell me. And in my mind, I didn't want to, because normally, especially with that friend, I don't like teaching her. I don't like lecturing her. You understand? In that sense, I just pray that somehow she will see, because there are people who don't do well with being taught. They would rather catch. You understand? Some things are not taught, some things are caught. So they rather catch it. They rather sense it, and it will make sense to them. Okay, but when you now say, okay, I want to tell you what is right, they will just have this mental block. They'll just block you out. So I try not to. Unless she asks for my advice, I try not to tell her stuff. I try not to tell her you are wrong, you are right. I just let her be. And I just pray that she will grow to that point where she this things with me. I mean, and it has happened several times where she said, "Oh, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that," and then she just walks into it like straight up. As in, and in my mind I'll be laughing like, does this girl realize that sometime in the past she said, "I don't believe in mentorship, I don't believe in all those spiritual father," and she just slides into it seamlessly. I'm like, I thought you said you don't believe in this thing. So when she was doing all that, I don't believe that you need to take out time to pray and fast, and so God will tell you something. In my mind, I was like, which Bible do people read? Because it is everywhere in the scripture. Before you make moves, you consult God. It is even in the New Testament. Let's not use the Old Testament, because Old Testament they were using effort and all that. In the New Testament, you don't do things without God. That is why the book of the chapter in 15, chapter 15 of John was written. Abide in me. I will tell you these things. If you abide in me and abide in you, that which flows through me will flow into you. I am the vine. My Father is the vine dresser. You are the branches. For you to bear fruit at the branch level, you need feeding from the vine, which is me. How do you now get feeding from the vine that you are not consulting on a regular? How do you get confident in making decisions when those decisions are not backed by God? What confidence do you have? I've told you of my former church where you don't go into ministry until you have a clear word from God. If you tell them you had a dream, they will send you back for Bible school. So you are good Bible school and say, "Oh, I want to be a pastor." They ask you, "How do you know that you are called into ministry? How do you know that this is what God wants you to do?" And I tell them, "Oh, I saw it in a dream." They will send you back. The dreams are not sufficient means of communication. Yeah, some people have accurate dreams. So I don't dispute that, but in general, dreams are not sufficient, especially in a situation of going into ministry, because ministry is tough. Ministry is military. So you need to be sure that God has told you that this is what He wants you to do with your life. Otherwise, you will go in, and in the first quarter of your ministry, the first quarter of the time you spend in ministry, you will be so hit with trials, you will just run out. So I'm like, it is everywhere in scripture. The last time, the apostles, Judas had committed suicide, and so they were with only 11 people. And they wanted to make up the number. They wanted to become 12 again. What did they do? They prayed. They prayed and asked God, "What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" And God didn't say anything. Well, according to Luke, who wrote the book of Acts, God didn't tell them anything. And I mean, Luke was not an apostle, so I don't know who told him that God didn't say anything. Maybe God was saying and they didn't hear. But basically, according to Luke, I think he was on a wrote Acts. God didn't say anything to them. So what did they do? They cast lots. They basically rolled dice. And then they got Matthias. That was the first and last time Matthias was mentioned. To show you how irrelevant he was to the situation. So meaning that God was not backing that decision. Go further, you will see the apostle. The apostle God wanted to pick was Paul. But Paul was not ready at that time. And the apostles were not willing to wait to hear from God. So they rolled dice and picked the person they wanted to pick. Meanwhile, the person God wanted to pick was Paul, and Paul was the most effective of all of them. So you see, consulting God is an important aspect of the Christian faith, of our walk with God. We must consult God. We must put Him first. You don't go making decisions, and this was my problem with my friend. You are making decisions and carrying out actions, and you're expecting that God will somehow make your actions profitable. Yes, He will, because He loves you. He doesn't want to end up with your stupid decisions. But you are putting Him on damage control. That is not where you put God. Damage control means He's behind you, cleaning up your mess. So he wants you to do this. He wants you to excel in your business. Pardon me. And He has mapped out these things you need to do for you to excel. One of them will include just sitting and waiting. Yes, most of the time when God has strategies for us to carry out, Most of the time, it includes one of the things you will need to do is to sit and wait. Why? Because God is using men to get to you, and those men too are under attack from the devil. So for him to get certain things to you, he will use men. And if those men are not purely, even if they are purely sold out to him, they will still be under attack from the devil, because the devil can get a hint that he wants to do certain things. Yes, that is why you get delays in your testimonies. It's not because God hates you. It's because there are actual delays. Devil, the same way God has access to men, devil also has access to men, especially men who are not under God. God wants to use an unbeliever to bless you, because that unbeliever has the amount of money or the connection or whatever it is that you need. But guess what? Because he's an unbeliever, the devil too has access to that person. So God is making moves. However, you need to just wait. But people don't want to do that. They just want to be doing things, and God will now be, because they feel, why will I sit down and wait? What they don't understand is waiting for God should be waiting on God. People here waiting and they feel, oh, is laziness, I need to be doing something. No, that is what the world is. That is what Babylon will tell you, that you must be actively doing something. No. In Zion, we don't just do things because you are going to be messing things up. If God says wait. How do you wait? You stay in prayer. You volunteer for things. You go for conferences. Go and gather knowledge. Get involved in things, but do not make decisions on those issues that God has told you to wait over those things. So you are waiting, but you are serving in your church. You are volunteering in social ministry. You are doing one of these things, but you are not making moves on that aspect of your life that God has told you to wait. You are gathering knowledge. You are going for conferences. You are going for Bible studies. You are getting mentors, getting mentorship. But you don't make moves and then expect that your mind is just expecting that God is behind you, cleaning up your mess. That is a way to go. I'm not saying it's not the way to go. It's a way to go, but it's not the right way to go. It's a good way, because at least you are honoring the fact that God is in your life, helping you fix things. But that's not God's plan for you. God's plan is not to be cleaning up your mess. God's plan is that you will be making informed decisions, because those mess He's cleaning up is affecting people's lives. I hope you know the decisions you make. You're not an island in this world. The decisions you are making are affecting people's lives that you do not even know them. And His plan for their lives are being truncated by the decisions you are making, the actions you are taking. And so He's cleaning up your mess, not just for you, but for the other people, the lives of other people involved in that situation. So before you make a move, pray. God actually speaks. God gives wisdom. God speaks. God talks. He does. A lot of time, what's his name? Paul wanted to take his ministry to the Jews, and God was like, I didn't send you to the Jews. This is why I still don't believe that Paul wrote the book of Hebrews. I didn't send you to the Jews. I sent you to the Gentiles. But Paul loved the Jews. He knew that they were going to gain to damnation. If they don't receive Christ, they were going to end up in a mess. And God was saying, I didn't send you there. But guess what? He insisted on going to the Jews. What happened? They caught him. That was the beginning of the end of his life and ministry. Let's be careful. Don't bring God in as a factor. God is not a factor. God is the main package. He's the main guy in the situation. If you see Him as the main guy, He will be the main guy. Otherwise, you're on your own. You are on your own. Otherwise, you are on your own. I advise you, prioritize God. Prioritize God. And be humble enough to obey Him. He will not, let me tell you one other thing. He will not give you the blueprint. He will not give you the instruction for the next level until you have settled this level. That's another thing I've learned about God. If this is where you are with Him and you have not completed this stage, for you to move on to the next part, you need to complete this stage. Not because not because I said so. God does not do stuff like that. It is because the next stage is tied to this stage. So you need to finish this part. So if you have not done this part and you're just going around trying to help yourself, trying to find ways to get, to prosper, to excel, and those things are not working, why? God is saying this is where you are. If you deal with this, the next place will be unlocked. Be patient. If God has said this is it, stick to it. Be patient with God. God actually loves you. He actually wants you to excel. God is on your side. He's actually on your side. He's not hiding from you. When you seek Him, He said He's the rewarder of those that diligently seek Him. I think that's Hebrews 11. Abi? Yes, no. Those that come to me must come knowing that He is, and He's the rewarder of they that diligently. Yeah, I think around 6 or so. So you must understand that God actually wants you to excel. He wants to answer you. He has answers to your questions. He said, James said, if you ask Him, He will give you wisdom without wavering. He won't give you wisdom. He will give you wisdom without judging you, without looking at you, without having double mind. He will give you freely. So don't come with the mind that, oh, God doesn't want to tell me. God's going to play around with me. God's going to delay me. No. Even if He delays you, who is with the blueprint? You or God? Who is with the timetable? Is it you or God? How do you know you are being delayed? Answer me. How exactly do you know you are being delayed? Who drew the timetable? Look at Habakkuk 2:3. Is it 2? Yeah, 2:3. I think 4. I think furthermore, he said, even though it tarry, wait, it will not tarry. That statement is a, what they call it? Is it oxymoron or what? Is ironical in a sense. Wait, it will not tarry. Even if it tarries, wait. That's division now. If you read that part, you say division is for an appointed time. Wait, it will not tarry. Even if it tarries, wait, it will not tarry. Meaning that even in your own calendar, it might tarry, but wait, in the proper blueprint that He has, it is not tarrying. You are on time. God is on time. Right from when He told Abraham, your people will go into captivity for 400 years, and after 400 years I will bring them out. On time, He showed up. Even after Moses killed somebody, and it was as if he was not going to be you understand, he went to wilderness, he stayed for 40 years. When it was time, God brought him. God does not, He does. Daniel was praying. He prayed, and God said, from the moment you started praying, I deployed an angel. I made a command. The command was released. Why did Daniel start praying? God led Daniel to the book, and he read the prophecy of Jeremiah, and realized that the time for delivery was close. So God is always on time. The problem is that you don't see Him as on time. You think that you are using your time to judge the matter. And He's saying, no, it's not. You are not the person. I am the person that has the blueprint. You don't have the blueprint. I have the blueprint. So involve Him. Be patient with Him with His decisions. Some of us feel like God is delaying. Some of us feel that God's response will not favor us. I've met somebody like that too, who was so afraid to pray on a particular subject because she felt that God's answer will not favor her. And yes, it might look like His answer will not favor you, but His answer is for your good. It's just that you don't see it. You don't see it yet. So you are fighting, you're avoiding you're avoiding God. You don't want to pray on that matter because you know that if you pray on that matter, the answer is clear. We need to be careful the way we position God in our lives. He is at the top of the food chain. He's not a suggestion. He's not an opinion. His words are not suggestions, they are instructions. He's not an attachment. No, he is the main deal. He is the real deal. He's at the forefront. He's the captain of the team. He's the coach of the team. He's the owner of the team, the organization itself. So let's stop this God factor nonsense. It's a myth, and it's a myth that is damaging our work with God. It's really affecting our work with God, because we put God at the back and just let him clean. God is not the janitor. God is not the janitor. God is not the cleaner. God is not there to clean your mess. God is there to help you make the right decisions. And the only way you can make the right decision is if you put him in front. That's why we sing the song, I'll put you in front of my melody. You are all that matters. That's what it means. You are in front. You are the decision maker. So let's stop that. Let's stop that, right?